Hello, everybody. Hi, Internet.
Hi, Louise. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Okay, so it's wonderful. We're back here tonight again with a big subject. Um, I'm going to apologize to everybody before we start about my laptop, which is overheating and making a hissing sound. So I'm sorry about that. It's either that sound or no live. So I really apologize. I mean, if anybody comes on, then it would be great if you just let us know if the sound is clear. Antoinette, the rain stopped on your side?
Yeah, at the moment it's quiet.
Okay, all right. Okay, wonderful. So thank you everybody for commenting and sending us messages. It's wonderful. It's lovely to know that people are enjoying what they're doing. And you know what I like, Antoinette, is that people are staying the whole hour. It's like amazing. I love it. And people, I've gone off on YouTube and I've looked at reviews and it's great. It's wonderful if people are actually enjoying what we are presenting and having benefit from it. So any of you who are watching or watching afterwards, if you know somebody needs help, then please forward it. You never know who's looking for exactly this kind of help. I know because I've been looking for a long
And
time.
we had some very honest shares, which was also amazing.
Yeah, it's
Some
wonderful.
honest feedback from people, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for being vulnerable enough to do that.
And yes, that was great. Yeah, we're pretty new at this, so we'll be making a lot of mistakes. So, yeah, but it's wonderful to have all of you here. Okay, so if you have not seen last week's, it was about adult children, and if you're watching for the first time, I'm going to recommend that you go back in. It is on my profile. I think there's a link on your profile too, and Antoinette, there's a video on YouTube. And so, if you want to get hold of it, talk to one of us. We'll point you in the right direction because they go together. Week one with a crazy hammering drummer, and last week in these they're all going together. So there's a theme to this. We're not just talking randomly. We are talking about helping yourself become self-empowered um, and self-love revolution, which we're both very excited about, and um, ultimately the thing that all of us don't really know about, which is adult child syndrome, and we walk around unaware of it, and there's ways to fix it, and ways for us to make life much easier. Right, Antoinette, anything from your side before I jump in? Tool number one.
Jump in. I think the tools are important, so let's go for it.
Okay. Right, so I might have mentioned this before, but I cannot say it enough. I absolutely will repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until somebody gets it. Because this is the number one thing to understand. This is the difference between an adult and a child. And it's called adult child syndrome because adults walk around with child coping skills and outlooks and limiting beliefs. And we are so much more. But the minute when you hold on to child coping skills and child beliefs, and I'm going to say tools, but it's not tools, lack of tools, then you are limiting yourself. So the most important switch to make is to check with yourself and to understand that you may not be viewing yourself as an adult. Okay, so this is going to sound crazy because here we are. We're sitting here tonight, we are adults. Somebody has told us that we are adults if we reach a certain age, depending on our culture, and therefore we know we are supposed to be adults. But do we feel like an adult inside? And there's a critical difference between a child and an adult. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So the very first thing is just Do you feel like an adult? Are you acting like an adult? Or do you walk around asking permission, looking for affirmation, wanting to be liked? Or are you very explosive, very active, withdraw very easily when you are hurt? Because those are the sure signs that you have not actually climbed into your adult panties and hitched them up and said, I'm an adult. So check that for a minute. If you feel that you are a self-regulated person, you don't need input from other people in order to feel good, then you are in an adult mode. If you need input from other people before you can feel good, and it also includes being addicted to another person, being addicted to a best friend, being addicted to a life partner, um, being addicted to somebody in your family. If you cannot make a decision without phoning your mother, um, which is different from I'm going to tell my mother what I'm going to do and I hope she's going to be happy for me, which is different from I don't feel sure enough of myself without phoning this one, checking with that one, asking 10 people their opinion. So that is just one of those things. If you are self-directed and you get your own, you have your own batteries, you get your own joy, you get your own affirmation, you can you can regulate your emotions. No matter if it's a bad day or a good day, then you are in adult mode. And if that's not you, then we want to keep on listening. Because like we said last time, awareness is everything. Right. So um, if this is the two, they go together. So if you if you are an adult, there's one thing you know for absolutely sure, which is I have a voice and I have a choice. And that means I can say no, I can say yes. I have a choice in any situation. And all of this, the two together, I'm an adult and I have a voice and a choice, puts us in this position, which is taking responsibility for yourself and taking responsibility for your own happiness, which is the way to get ourselves out of victimhood. So I warned you, Antoinette, that this is a big subject. We may not get through it because our target, it's half an hour. I don't know if we're going to get to number 3 and 4 and 5 because victimhood is so enormous. And victimhood is the opposite of adult.
And
So
surprisingly, you can be in it and not even recognize it, even vaguely, because you can be successful, popular, all those things, and still internally feel like a victim without even knowing it, actually.
yeah, it's
That
really
was my.
important. When when I was unhappy, I can't even say I was unhappily married because I was so determined to be happy that I just ignored all the unhappiness. But I was definitely in a toxic relationship. And I kept on knowing that I will be fine the minute when my husband is like this. When he does this, when he don't do this, I will be fine. And like you said, Antoinette, you can be successful. You can have friends. You can look at yourself and know that you are a strong person. And yet, underneath it all, that is just how you look on the outside. Because on the inside, you need somebody else to be in a certain way. And it doesn't have to be like this huge big addiction I have to another person. This person has to be like this, and then I'll be fine. And this person can do literally anything as long as he still loves and accepts me, and it is all fine. I'm going to just keep on forgiving.
And people pleasing. I never needed a relationship, but I was just trying to please everybody all the time to be liked without even knowing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, people pleasing is part of I need somebody else's affirmation in order to feel good. So I feel good about myself because I make other people happy, not because I'm happy inside myself. So,
And I was constantly dissatisfied, no matter how much I achieved or did, or I'd reach one thing, like one trip I wanted to do or one business goal. But there was always this empty hole. So for me, it wasn't so much about dependency on a relationship, but it was never enough for me, and not because I was materialistic or anything. I just always felt like there was more and something wasn't right.
yeah. So let's look at the small things, because the relationships and that feeling inside yourself, these are the big things, but the small things happen in our daily life every single day, in big ways and small ways. It is, I'm having a conversation with somebody and I want something done in a certain way because I feel safe about it. And when that person doesn't want to do it that way, I will bully them until they do what I want. And I don't even know I'm bullying them. I just know that I have got this enormous drive inside me. I'm not going to feel okay until it's done in the way in which I feel safe. And it can be the smallest things that can make us dig in. I'm having a conversation with somebody and they don't agree with me. And I have this huge big reaction because I have to be right, otherwise I don't feel safe. I don't like waiting because then I feel less than, and so I have an overreaction. Okay, fine. If I have to wait, then I just turn around and I walk, or I'm going to ignore you, or I'm going to be passive aggressive, um, or I'm just going to cut you out of my life. So we have all of these big overreactions instead of saying, you know what, if you're going to be late, you can phone me, and next time do that, I won't be here. Instead of just having a huge, big emotional outburst. So emotional outbursts are nearly always connected to us feeling less than, invisible, not important, not seen, not heard. And if you take those invisibility problems, then what you're doing is you're coming from your small place. Your that piece inside you that is still small. That's what I mean with your small place. So inside you is a piece that haven't grown up, and you you just know you're going to disintegrate if if you don't have those measures in place that makes you feel safe. And for some people, it is people pleasing. For some people, it's withdrawing. For some people, it's over controlling. For some people, it's being addicted to another person. For some people, it's constantly checking, scanning. For some people, it's blending in, being like everybody else wants us. And sometimes we use all of those, and sometimes we have an overwhelming way of being with the world. But there is no one rule for anybody, and there's no
Okay.
one trigger for everybody. We are a blend of all these things, and the degree of the hurt that we are carrying with us is going to determine how big our overreactions are. And when I say overreactions, I'm also talking about underreactions, which is withdrawing and not trusting people, refusing to let people in because I don't trust them. That's an underreaction, but it's also by its nature an overreaction because instead of just um, being willing to get to know people and to trust in yourself and your own know, you'd rather sit back and wait and scan and very slowly let people into your life, or you let them work very hard before you accept them. Um, all right, so these are the things that leads to victimhood, which is not feeling like there's enough of ourselves in order to regulate our own life, and always feeling the victim of somebody else. Um, Now, when you have a victim attitude, you can have a victim attitude about a lot of stuff, but you can also have just one victim attitude. And like Antoinette seriously, I've had this victim attitude about my husband and not about anything else because I'm a very positive person. So I didn't see this thing coming about adult child syndrome. And yet
Wow.
it fits 100%. And it changed
Hmm.
everything in my life when I realized exactly what I was doing. That one
Hmm.
relationship in my life was enough to make me feel like I'm important, I matter to somebody, somebody accepts me, somebody wants me just the way I am. I, I matter without realizing that I was supposed to matter to me. And
Hmm.
that is it. When you matter to you, and when you grow that love for yourself, and here we're back at it, the self-love revolution. So when you matter to you and you start treating yourself like you are special and valuable, and you start treating yourself with respect, then you start healing yourself.
Hmm.
Okay, so what did I miss about victimhood? Anything?
Well, I think as you said, it shows up differently for different people. Oversensitivity was a big thing of mine. Just taking everything so personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, part of it. Thinking everybody doesn't like me, and every time someone's unhappy, did I say something wrong or had I done something wrong? I don't know if that's part of it, but that was certainly one of my things in the
Yeah,
past.
it's definitely part of the scanning thing and wanting to fit in. Because you're not happy in your own skin. You don't like yourself enough, and therefore it's more important to be liked by other people than being liked by yourself. That's literally the one thing that changes everything for you. Is the day when you decide to like yourself, and you can fake it until you make it. The day when you decide, it's true, you can because when you start acting as if you already like yourself, you're going to start behaving differently. And we don't do it the other way around. We don't sit around and wait for the big epiphany to strike us out of the blue sky. And we're just going to wake up one day and we're going to like ourselves. We have to, we have to walk the walk. If you go to the gym and you pitch up every single day and you just go and do a little bit of exercise, then at the end of the year, there's going to be a firmer, fitter person around. But and it works the same way with building yourself. If you just pitch up every single day and do a little bit, and this is the biggest little bit that you can do, decide to like yourself and act as if you like yourself. Because how does somebody behave who like themselves? They stop punishing themselves. They start celebrating themselves. They they relax into who they are. They start enjoying their own best characteristics, and they forgive themselves, and they support themselves, and they trust themselves.
But
Because
it takes more than insight in this case, Louise, because yeah, I can make a state in the past. I could say I'll make a statement to love myself, but it's the subconscious stuff coming up that's just so naturally unself-loving, self-hating, actually. And it takes time. For me, it took repetitive practice over time to work with that, actually. And yeah, and it's still a work in progress. It didn't happen just because I decided to love myself. I had to work with the subconscious stuff that was coming up and yeah, rewire
and
my brain actually.
right with Antoinette, you have talked about your limiting beliefs. I have to
So
work.
I have to address one of them. Oh yeah, that's a limiting belief.
It's a limiting belief, and it's so your limiting belief that you thought that you were doing for your greater good It's exactly what's been tripping you up. I have to work so hard at this. Now, I'm not saying this is not work. It's just that we have we just don't want to believe that something that's so important to us, that self-esteem and loving ourselves and allowing ourselves to be ourselves, is the single biggest thing that we have to do for ourselves in this world. There's nothing bigger. And because it's so big, we don't think it can be easy. We simply don't believe it can be easy. The limiting belief is I cannot have anything just because. I have to work for it. I can't just sit back and go, like, okay, I've been acceptable all along. Why am I working so hard? That's the limiting belief.
No, but the subconscious can run the show, you know.
The subconscious is not in charge of you once you get to awareness. If you look, and here's the other problem: we are so extremely hard-headed. We want to do things the way that we have been trained to do them. So if we have survived working so hard to prove ourselves, we like it. We like it. We get affirmation for working so hard to to be successful. We like it. That's our problem. We like it more than sitting back and going, okay, I don't have to work so hard. I'm already acceptable. Seriously, people, you don't have to work so hard. You are already acceptable. You've been born acceptable. You just have a limiting belief that you have to work so hard. There's a difference. When you step into ease, you just relax into yourself and you, it's a big sigh of, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to reach more. I'm already there. Missing link. I'm already there. I've been there all along. It's us wanting more that's tripping us up. It is stepping back and allowing it in that brings the ease. It's a bad habit. More than anything else, it's a limiting belief. It's a debilitating outlook. It's just an outlook change. Like this. What do you sound to me? Is it too big?
I
Is
hear
it too
you.
easy? Is it too
I hear you.
easy? Yeah, I know. You like working for stuff.
Oh, see, we'll have this conversation on another day. It will take too long. It's
Yeah, but now you see, here's the thing: we've had people saying we like it when there's life coaching. So this, okay,
well, okay. Well, for me, it's been no, I can only talk about my own experience. Is that it's an unconscious thing. I don't want to work hard at things. I would prefer not to. But I would, for example, wake up in the morning and just have this feeling or this overwhelming sense of like I messed up or I'm not enough or I've done it again or I'm back in that addictive cycle. And so what you brought to me in our first live is just an attitude change that can say, well, I'm not perfect, I'm a work in progress.
yeah,
And it's okay. I'm still lovable and I can still love myself.
that makes all the difference. Now, it's important that we talk about these things because there are people who don't understand how do you get to this place where you can be easy with yourself, and we all have to struggle the stuff that we used to believe, and that brings me to my next tip tool, which is we have to be willing to stop believing what we believe in with all our might. because we believe these things. Like this particular one, this particular limiting belief that I have to work so hard. They can't be eased. This one for me keeps tripping myself. I mean, I like working. Seriously, I moan about it, but I like working. And I love my work. I'm so privileged to do this. It's just like the best thing in the world. And my day job, there's another thing that keeps me busy, which is doing pottery and stained glass whenever I have 5 minutes. And I love that. I just love working. And um, that's my excuse. But it didn't start like that. It, it was because I felt validated there, it was a place I can go to, which was my emotional safety, because my personal life was so upside down. So I could feel validated in the work that I was doing. So
Yeah.
we have a pretty story, and it sounds beautiful and it sounds plausible, and it's something that we can say over and over again, and it sounds like really so logical, and it explains a lot. I caught myself saying for years, I'm so busy. I was caught in this importance of busyness. And
Mm-hmm.
and I had to I had to really stop myself from saying, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I can't do that, I can't do that. And
Yeah, I get that.
every now and again, I pull my plate up so much again that there's no breathing space. And then I have to step back and say to myself, this is such a core belief that it has to be hard. Step back, let it flow, let it come to you because you are worthy. Okay, Louise, you know what? Don't take yourself so seriously and just let it come to you. Very big attitude change, but it actually works like that because the most amazing opportunities come to me. And you start
Yeah, and I
attracting.
think that's why to work with a coach like you, as I've said in the other live we had, it's the incredible way it speeds this up is because you can shine a light on these things we often aren't aware of, as you probably weren't when you started your journey. You don't realize I didn't realize how distorted my belief systems were because I was quite an awake person in inverted commas, but I had such self views mainly, and yeah, thinking patterns. And sometimes you're so immersed in that you can't see the wood for the trees until someone else comes in and goes, "Oh, look at this."
We're very attached to our beliefs. And there's a reason for it because we form those beliefs when we are small and it manages to get us to adulthood. So it gets us to a place of safety. So if one of our beliefs are, like remember we said about adult child, one of the primary beliefs is um, don't trust. Now, if that is, and so many people walk around with that one, don't trust that abundance will come to me. Don't trust that people will like me. Don't trust that I will be enough. Don't trust that these people are not going to judge me, that they're not going to betray me. We are walking around, we are a bundle of don't trust. And we can actually, and there can be long discussions about this one. Because when I first start saying to everybody, you can drop this one. You don't have to walk around not trusting anybody. You are only not trusting anybody because you don't trust yourself, because you don't have a no, you don't have a voice, you don't have a choice, you don't know how to do it, and you don't have your adult panties on. So once you have them on, you know, I'm an adult and I have a voice and I have a choice. And what I have to work on is not on keeping people away from me and scanning the whole world and checking myself all the time. I have to work on becoming discerning about what I want in my life. Not what I don't want in my life, about what I want in my life. What kind of people do I want? What kind of relationships do I want? Um, what kind of life circumstances do I want? And have a no and a boundary on everything that doesn't fit that picture of what I want for myself. It's crucial. So there, right there, we talked about victim just now. The minute you make that switch to understand, I am responsible for myself. I'm supposed to know these are the things that makes me happy. These are the things that fills up my heart. These are the things that are toxic to me, which I don't want in my life. I have a voice. I have a choice. It is my job. Nobody else's. It is my job to learn to say no, thank you. To learn to say I would rather not spend time with somebody who does this. To say um, this is not working for me. Can we talk about this? It's all about understanding that we have adult powers. And then this rule that we walk around with of don't trust, and especially don't trust ourselves, it just goes away. And the wonderful thing about this work is some stuff, once you get it, it's like immediately, you don't ever go back to it. Other stuff where you still have a belief system that you're not noticing, those ones take practice. And that is where what you're saying, Antoinette, is that if you have a coach or somebody outside of you who can help you see these beliefs, then it helps a lot because we have got blind spots. We cannot see everything. It's really, really hard to see everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
But the more
right.
self-aware you become, the more you start seeing your own stuff. But it does help to get that perspective.
Yeah, I'm just checking the comments. No, I haven't. I don't see anybody complaining about hammering crazy hammering men. Yeah. So now, when we are adult children, it is because we've got hurts. It is because we've got unresolved hurts and we've got limiting beliefs and outlooks that doesn't work in the adult world. And in the adult world, the outlook that works is a self-empowered outlook. Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, this is your cards. You've been dealt it. This is the way your life is. You can't go back and change that. Here you are today, no matter what age you are. You cannot go back. And we said last time, it's not about blaming anybody. It is about us becoming aware of what shaped us and what it is that we need. And then our job is this. We now have to start reparenting ourselves. So this is the next tool. We have to start reparenting ourselves. And this, now we're coming straight back to that wonderful thing again, self-love. Because, listen, just think about it for a minute. When you were growing up, what did you need more from anybody else, from the people around you, from your primary caregivers? What did you need more than anything else in the world? Okay, guys, can you go and type for us in the comments? Let me see if we're gonna get it right. Just think about it for a minute. Imagine you're 3 years old, 6 years old, 12 years old, however old you want to be. And just think, what is it that I need more than anything else? What is it that would make me feel safe? What is it that would make me feel worthy? Okay, Antoinette, have you got an answer for me?
Well, unconditional love.
That's it. That's the one. Unconditional love. And unconditional love means we can't be limiting beliefs. Unconditional love is what it says. No condition, just love. Love. And when you love somebody, you are kind to them, you're encouraging, you are supportive, you forgive, and you trust. And when you start doing that for yourself, that's when you're reparenting yourself. Because now you have another chance for you to become who you were always supposed to be. And if you start bringing these things into your life, you become more of who you've ever been. You become easy inside yourself and you let people see the real you. And you take more chances and you go after bigger goals and you forgive easier and you have more connections. You have more worthwhile, important people in your life. That's all just from giving yourself unconditional love. Unconditional love is acceptance and validation. It is, it just, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything anymore. No matter what your limiting belief was, what your mindset was, no matter how you were trained, I'm only going to love and accept you if you your grades are good, if you are quiet, if you are a mummy's little helper. All of that things go away. It's like if you have good grades, wonderful, I still love you anyways. So if you go and you being a perfect human being today, that's fine. If you're not, I'm going to love you anyways. And that's a great one. I love myself anyways, no matter what kind of day I'm having, or no matter how perfect or imperfect human being I am, I love myself anyways because it's my job. And that's a mindset change. It's my job. And when I love myself, I don't need affirmation from other people anymore. It's not that it's not nice. It's lovely. It's wonderful. Keep on giving us beautiful comments. We like it. There's nothing wrong with it. But we don't die if we don't get affirmation. We don't feel like we failed as human beings if we don't get validation or input from outside. We don't feel like life is not worth living or that we are not good enough if we make mistakes. We love ourselves anyways, and it's called the love revolution because that is how we get better. We love ourselves anyways. It's a good one, isn't it?
Yep. Reparenting is important. Yeah.
Reparenting is important. And then you get to choose what kind of parent you want to be because if you're going to be a harsh parent, I mean, you might as well drop that job. You're not doing a good job. You want to be the kind of parent that you needed when you were 3 years old, when you were 5 years old, when you were 7 years old. It's really extremely important because we have childhood stages of development. And our childhood stages of development are every single one of them are important because you can't be the first 5 years developmental stages not completed and think that, oh, it's fine, I'm just going to jump over those and I'm going to be fine from 7 to 14. I'll be just fine from 7 to 12. I'll just catch up. It doesn't work like that. When you reparent yourself, you have to go back to 1 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, whichever ones you wanted. You don't have to go in a particular one, but you can go and read some parenting books, please, with Dr. Spock variety. And you can go and see what is the child's development stages and there is bonding with parents, separation from parents. There's learning to trust yourself. So there are very, very definite stages of development. And you can literally go and train yourself by applying these to your life. If you have to separate from your parents at 4, and I'm not sure about the date, I'm guessing. If you have to separate from your parents at 4, then what you have to do is say, okay, I'm not going to phone my mother all the time anymore because then I'm still behaving like a 4-year-old. I'm going to make my own decisions and just inform her. And even if I'm shaking and if it's very hard. So that's a practical example of this is a stage that I've missed in my life. And therefore I have to go and do that, which is incidentally what I do when I coach somebody through this. I notice because I'm outside of it, there's a stage missing here, and I'm going to give you very simple homework, and you're going to go and you're going to do it, and you're going to shake, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to come back and you're going to say, wow, I managed. You're going to be proud of yourself, and therefore you're acting yourself through your developmental stages, and not just think because I know it now, it is so. We act ourselves better. We don't think ourselves better. We act ourselves better. From acting comes an outlook change, and when we've had the outlook change, We build a new belief system inside ourselves. It's not the other way around. It's not, I'm going to have a new belief system and I'm going to be a different person. It is, I'm going to fake it until I make it because I'm going to act as if. From action comes outlooks, and from outlooks come beliefs. The other way around. Okay.
It's an interesting insight, yeah.
Yeah, and it works 100%. So it just really is like, that's why fake it until you make it work so well. Because it's action. And underneath, think about this one. When I say victimhood is connected to us not knowing that we are adult, and being an adult is having a voice and having a choice. That means there's action involved in it. And victimhood is connected to inaction. There might be loud explosions and all kinds of things, but it's still somebody waiting for somebody else to be different so that I can feel okay. If you talk to me like that, then you are doing this to me. If you are late, you are doing this to me. If you don't like me anymore, you're doing this to me. Not, you don't like me anymore because this was your season, you've moved on. So you're not liking me anymore, and therefore you're doing this to me. You're not doing this to me. I am taking it on board, and I'm being the victim of you in my mind. I'm not the victim of you. I'm a grown-ass person who can go and say, okay, fine, I don't want to be with somebody else, somebody anyways who don't like me. It's too much of me. I'm too important to myself, and I'm too worthy as a human being to be wanting to spend time with somebody who doesn't like me anymore. Move on in peace because I believe in myself so much. And I know I will find a better tribe, people that will value me for who I am. So, okay, you know what? It was bad. Let me be sad and let me heal from it and move on. But you're not doing it to me if you don't like me anymore. That's, it's huge. And we just don't think like that until we put on those adult panties and we realize we are not the victim of anybody. Nobody's doing anything to us. We are doing it to ourselves. We've got this outlook. You have to be like this before I can be okay. I'm okay anyways. I'm just okay anyways. No matter what, I'm okay. You can try and do something to me. I'm not going to manage because you don't have that power over me. You physically have to come and tie me up and stand there in front of me with a gun, and then I still have a choice to be sorry for myself and sit and think, just come near, I'm going to trip you. You know? So you have a voice and a choice in any situation. That gets you out of victimhood because now you have to ask yourself, what can I do? That's the next thing you have to ask yourself. So I want to check if I haven't followed this chronologically. So I have to check if I covered all my tools. I think I've thrown an extra. Okay, you're not a child. It's your job to reparent yourself. You have a voice and a choice. Don't believe everything that your mind tells you. And there's one left, which you have already mentioned before, which is you've given up on perfect. And we really have to give up on perfect. There is no such thing as perfect, and these high standards that we have for ourselves and for other people, we generally will hold other people to high standards too if we have impossible standards for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We will never be as hard on other people as ourselves. But those two usually go together because it's that perfectionism that makes me feel in some sort of way that I'm in control and I'm okay if I can just remember to align all my sentences 100% straight. Then I'm going to be fine as a human being. And if I'm not, I'm going to be judged and cast away into the night and rejected as a human being. And that is what perfectionism does to us. I'm not saying go and teach all your standards, but I do say there's a very healthy thing to say, which is good enough is good enough. Tonight, I'm sitting here with a laptop, which is driving me insane. I hope you can all hear me, but the message is more important. If I was sitting here waiting for for perfect, we wouldn't be talking tonight, because there's nothing I can do to get this laptop to shut up. It is carrying on its own, like some demon got possession of it, and just now when I'm done, it will stop, and then
Murphy's Law.
yes. But for now, we're doing this anyways, because you know what? Good enough is good enough. And if one person here just take one of those steps and start changing their lives and make their lives a little bit easier, then it's worth it sitting through a little bit of noise, because the message is more important. Good enough is good enough. And so there is no perfect. And we have to drop our attachment to having to be perfect before. And by the way, the only person in the world who's supposed to be perfect, because other people do get forgiven, and other people get treated less harshly than we treat ourselves. So once we give up on perfectionism, we can be vulnerable. We can show up exactly the way that we are. We can let other people see inside ourselves. We can. And vulnerable is not about being weak. Vulnerable is about being strong enough to say to people, I'm imperfect. It's being strong enough to say, I've had a hectic week. I am really tired, and I've unexpectedly found myself in this situation that I just have too much on my plate, no matter how I planned or not planned. And I'm tired. Tonight I'm tired. And it's fine, because I'm a human being. I'm supposed to be tired. I have been running around the whole day. It's okay to be tired. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to go and reheat some leftovers. It's okay. Good enough is good enough. Perfect doesn't exist. And the thing that gets us to deparent ourselves in a most holistic way is to give up on the idea of perfect, and for us to allow ourselves to let everybody else see who we really are. Because remember, adult children have a belief that they're intrinsically flawed. Adult children really believe that they're different from everybody else, and that there's something inside them that are not right. And hence that job, having to go in and fix it, otherwise I can't be acceptable. And once we let go of that belief, and that belief is one of those, again, it's like this: you can let go of that belief immediately. You can decide, this is not working for me anymore. I am not going to believe I'm the only one in this world who have been born unacceptable. I'm not going to hold on to it anymore. I'm not going to punish myself anymore. The more you've been hurt as a child, the deeper the trauma, the more the abandonment, the harder this one is going to be for you. When you've had less trauma, you are going to get through this one easier without as much outside help. But if you've been deeply traumatized, then you have to rather talk to somebody, or a support group, or somebody who's going to help you take that trauma and turn it into your story, so it can stop defining you. And when it's just your story, it's not you anymore. You are living past what used to define you. You are living in possibility. You are becoming who you were always supposed to be. And that's awesome. And that's a reason I do this work, because it is such a fantastic, beautiful process to see. I'm in awe of it.
Yeah, it's very amazing when you come out the other side.
It is. It's totally worth it. Okay. So I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions, then you can go and put it into the Facebook group right now. Otherwise, if anybody wants to come on live, if anybody has a question, so Antoinette, this answers the question of somebody who said, you know what, we actually like seeing this live coaching. Now, if you like seeing the live coaching, then you have to bring somebody who wants to be coached. So somebody has to be willing to show up, ask questions, and be vulnerable in front of the whole world, which is quite a big ask. But you never know. You might just hear something that will change your life. So that this offer is going to keep on coming back every week because um, it helps everybody else to hear our own stories. We don't sit and talk about our own stories because we're sorry for ourselves, but just become merely a tool in order to let other people see it's been hard. It wasn't easy. I've overcome it. You've overcome it, and we're now stepping into this place of grace and more ease and more comfortable, feeling comfortable in the world, which is a wonderful place to be. And so, anybody wants to come on, all you have to do is you've got to go and click under on my profile. I've put it under the post. So I'm not sure if it's on all the, it should be on all of them because it's the main post. I have put the StreamYard link there. So if anybody wants to come on, you're very welcome to come on. You can come and tell us exactly what your problem is, or you can come and tell me how I'm wrong. That's also fine. I have no problem if you want to come and tell me how I'm wrong. Um, and if you want to ask a question or have anything explained or give us a particular example, then you're very welcome. Okay, Antoinette, let me go see. Oh, there is Robin. Hi, Robin. Okay,
Hello, Sean.
right. Oh, Norma, I'm so happy to hear. Norma says the sound is clear. And thank you, Sally Ann, for answering this, for checking in. Um, we're going to leave it on, and it will be once we've um, if there's any personal comments, then we go and edit it out, and then before it gets posted on YouTube, just so that everybody knows. It is important to protect people so that you can have the confidence to show up. Okay, all right. So, any questions? Anything from you, Antoinette?
No, not for the
Nothing
moment.
under.
I don't think there is. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. I think for me it was quite I don't know, maybe a conversation for another day about once you get the insight and the aha, yeah, does it just change like that? Yeah, it hasn't always
Some
for
stuff,
me.
some stuff, not everything. Some of us are. Some of these things are. We are so deeply entrenched in the belief system. Some have to literally prove you wrong, um, because it kept us safe. Now, why would you want to give up on something that kept us safe? If scanning kept us safe, why would we want to stop scanning? If you have been walking on eggshells all along because that is the only way in which you could keep yourself safe. If you have felt so less than other people, if you are coming from a family where there's dysfunction, and you had a father who was drinking and a mother who was not emotionally there for you, and everybody moved around a lot and you had no stability, you don't feel like the other children. You can just try and blend in. If blending in was what got you grown up, you're not going to want to give it up. You're not going to want to be your own zebra with pink stripes. You're going to want to be a herd animal and just blend in because that's where you feel safe, because that is how you grew up. So we are all different. We all arrive with different coping skills, a lack of coping skills, and just ways to look okay, ways to just fit in and blend in and feel acceptable to everybody else by being what the world wants. So those are just belief systems that we have to give up to. But we don't do one. We just don't just do one. We don't say, okay, I don't have this belief system anymore. We give up a belief system, and at the same time we put something else in its place. It's not like we leave this empty hole where over control used to be. We put a tool in the place of letting go of control. You put something else in the place of it. So if over controlling used to be your coping skill, which your coping lack of skill, your coping mechanism, then you are going to not just be able to give it up, you're going to have to learn why and what else to do. And then you have to learn how to celebrate yourself without and accept yourself and feel safe in the world without over controlling everything. So every old coping mechanism gets replaced with a healthy new tool. I've done a few weeks ago in the hamster wheel groups, I've done probably about 2 months ago, I've done another one with 5 other coping skills. I'm just going to see if I can find that link. But the problem is if it's in a private group, then I can't share it outside the group because Facebook won't let me. But if anybody wants to go and join the group, just let me know. And so because there are more coping skills than just this, obviously. And you're not going to get it in one evening. Nobody's going to get it in one evening. We just take baby steps and we start moving forward one day at a time, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And then before we know it, we're showing up and we are different. And we sometimes don't see it because we change a little bit by little bit. If one person go out tonight here and just decide, I'm just not going to self-bash, I'm going to celebrate myself, or I'm just going to let a few extra people into my life without being so overly cautious and so overly careful, about who I let in. I'm going to increase my support system. Then that is where your baby step, that's where you start. As long as you start somewhere. And just showing up week after week after week already makes a big difference. And I know this from having done groups for such a long time. Every single group that I've facilitated, there's always people who are there and talking about their problems, and they go home and they've got clear direction where to go. And there's always somebody who just sits there and just show up every week and sit there and take it in and sit there and take it in. And even if that's you, one day you realize, but I've been soaking up these things. I've changed my belief system. I'm now suddenly acting differently. Showing up. It's really showing. Let me see. I'm sorry about it, Esther. Yeah, so Esther, you can still go and click on the link with the greatest pleasure, and you can ask questions. You can also right there where you've now commented. You can also right there go and ask your questions. And if you check underneath my post on my profile, you'll see the link for StreamYard is there, and you're very welcome to come in. I'm really sorry about the noise from my laptop tonight. I'm trying to shout.
Hello, Esther.
More annoying. Okay, so
Esther's from Holland.
oh, really? Nice to talk to you, Esther.
Sure.
So we're going to give it a few secs, just a few little secs here, so that if anybody wants to join or ask more questions. And otherwise, next week, are we going to maybe talk about overreactions?
Yeah, maybe we should have a more kind of interactive thing. I don't know, like Esther suggested, hey? Overreactions, yeah.
Yeah, maybe when we're done with all of this, we have a webinar. So we've got how many? One or two. We're going to do this till end of November, so I think we've got about 2 more going. I think next week I'd like to talk about overreactions and how they lead to people with adult child syndrome being misdiagnosed or, put into the wrong box, and how to get past it. How does that sound to you, Internet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when we are misdiagnosed, which also goes together with medication, then it's an extremely hard place to get yourself out of and to regain trust in yourself and to feel like you've got a handle on your own life, which is what all of this is really all about. It is about self-empowerment. It is about us feeling like we have a, a handle on our lives because we actually have, not because we're over controlling the world around us. Okay, Antoinette, I don't see any more questions coming. And I don't see anybody trying to come on. Now we're going to stay on at the end of this for a minute or two. So if anybody wants to come on, you can also come on. And so when we're done, if you still want to jump on, you're very welcome to. We'll chat to you. Okay. So anything else from you, Antoinette? What's your thoughts in closing?
No, just say goodbye and thank you for being with us, and thank you, Louise.
It's my biggest pleasure. Love doing this. And I've never in my life thought I would say this because I'm this introverted person who used to be very shy, and here I'm sitting on doing lives and actually enjoying it. And so, yeah, thank you, Antoinette. It's so easy to talk to you, and thank you for everybody who's been here. And join us next week. It's going to be interesting again. And please share if you know somebody is going to find this of value. And if you want any topics, let us know. We don't mind it if you tell us what you want to hear. So from your questions, we can maybe we can do one with questions for the last one, Antoinette.